This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel this evening. It's 5:48 as I record this video. Got out of work late. If you at all paid attention to the news or you live in southern Alberta, you know the Calgary area and the whole southwest portion of the province, more or less, is getting absolutely hammered right now. If you're in Red Deer, you know everybody's telling you to absolutely stay away from the QE2, and it's just a disaster that is an early November snowstorm, ice storm, whatever you want to call it. Well, with that said, I've said the key word for this video, ladies and gentlemen, and that is disaster. And now, okay, let's be realistic here. So far for the Oilers through, what, 16 games? I think it is 16. Yeah, you know what? 10-4-2. We don't really have any disasters happening, right? We don't have any big problems like, oh yeah, you know what? Like nothing's blowing up. Connor McDavid's not out for the year. Goaltending's not been killing us. Defense has been surprisingly somewhat solid. Forward group, well, okay, now we start laying some blame. But you get where I'm going. Nothing is completely disastrous except, ladies and gentlemen, the simple fact of the Edmonton Oilers power play. It is completely out the window, down the street, running away, broken down. 100%. There is no denying this, and I will get to that in a moment. But guys, if you want to hit that subscribe button right now, I want to try and get this going because I always forget to ask for this, and you don't get anything if you don't ask for it. So if you want to hit that subscribe button, currently sitting just above 7,300 subscribers. So if you want to hit that, that'd be grateful for me if you could do that for me. So back to my point. Let's get to the disaster that is that Edmonton Oilers power play, and there is some key stats available, ladies and gentlemen, on, well, hockey-reference.com. It's just called Hockey Reference, but you got to be able to have your website somehow, right? So let me see if I can find it here. Power play stats right there, ladies and gentlemen. You're about to see why I claim the Edmonton Oilers power play is so badly broken, because it's very, very simple. I'm going to transition over here on this side of things here because you're going to see this will take up a little bit more of the screen. There you go. So ladies and gentlemen, that is your skater time on ice statistics for the Edmonton Oilers. This is average time on ice per game. Okay, this is how much time on the ice each player spends per game on the power play. That is the highlighted yellow column in the middle of it on the first column of the power play section. And ladies and gentlemen, as we know, the top unit of the Edmonton Oilers spends a minute and 25 to a minute and 40 seconds on average, I would say, in my honest opinion, right? We've seen them complete full power plays more than once this season on the ice every single time, every single game. What we're talking about, the top unit is obviously Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Oscar Klefbom, and of course James Neal. Guys, take a look at their average ice times. 4 minutes time on ice per game. So that's literally Connor McDavid's playing the equivalent of four full minutes, which is 2 full power plays every single game. Now, I'm sorry, it's not like this Edmonton Oilers team is averaging anywhere near, 4 power plays a minute, right? If he only played a minute, that would be 4 full power plays. But you take a look at our chances on the power play. We've had 45 in 16 games. So let's just divide 45 by 16 here, shall we? That's 2.812 power plays. You multiply that by 2, that's 5.62. You minus that by 4 minutes. That's what, $1.62? So roughly a minute 37 per power play Connor McDavid plays. Right there, that's your simple math. A minute 37 per power play Connor McDavid is not on, a minute 37 of every power play chance combined per game, Connor McDavid is not on the ice. That's how I should explain it. Sorry, this is going to be tough to follow. I'd love to math it out, but guys, this is beyond complicated. I just need you to see the point I'm trying to make. And then you've got Leon Draisaitl, who spends a second less. Okay, this is not like, oh my goodness, Connor McDavid's out there because he's the best player in the world, and while Leon Draisaitl spends significantly less time. No, it's a second less, ladies and gentlemen, so nothing there. Then you've got Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who spends $3.54 out there. Then you've got Oscar Klefbom, who, for some reason, spends $3.43 out there. And then James Neal at $3.28 per game. Okay, now, here's where it really falls apart for this Edmonton Oilers team. And I'm going to start making my point here. Alex Chiasson at a minute 19. Sam Gagner at a minute. Now you've got, obviously, Joakim Nygard spent 59 seconds. That's pretty good, actually. Now you've got Darnell Nurse, 57. Ethan Bear, 41. You've got Gaetan Haas at 31. Zach Kassian at 30. Then you've got, who down there? Joel Persson at 18. And Thomas Sherko at 16. That's the only guys significantly spending any time on the power play. And the only reason I think Colby Cave or Chris Russell have power play time out there is something to do with, not last night, but the game before, if I'm not mistaken. So guys, there you go. That's to my point. That's your ice times per game on the power play for the Oilers. Now here's the problem. The Oilers have guys on that lineup who have not spent any power play time out there. And that's being Patrick Russell, Jujhar Khaira, Riley Sheahan, and then you can say Chris Russell, Colby Cave, Marcus Granlund to an extent, and then of course Matt Benning, Brandon Manning, and Adam Larson. That's your guys who haven't spent any power play time. Now that's not too troublesome because most of those guys I don't want on the power play. Although here's to the problem. I get it. I 100% get why the ice time is allocated such as it is. Okay, I do. The power play is efficient. The power play is one of the top power plays in the league. It's at 26.67. The league average efficiency rating is 19.35. However, the difference is only 3 power play goals from league average. We've got 12, league average is 9 to this point of the NHL season. Now, to make my point clear, what I'm trying to say here is it's a bottom 6 depth scoring issue, right? Because we all say, oh, well, James Neal, when he's in the bottom 6, scoring on the power play doesn't count. Well, technically yes, technically no, right? There you ask yourself. Alex Chiasson. But here's the problem, guys. Here's the problem. Ask yourself on the power play, how many of these guys have been on the ice for goals for per 90 or per 60 minutes? Connor McDavid, right? Connor McDavid. I'll just pull up my stats so as I can actually read this properly to you. But let's just get this actually figured out. On ice, goals for per 60 minutes on the power play. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, the usual suspects, Chiasson, and Darnell Nurse, and Zach Kassian. So we have a total of 8 guys who have been on the ice for power play goals this year. And realistically, they're usual suspects. Guys, these are guys we've had in our top 6 for quite a bit of time this season. So here's the problem. Let's go and kind of break this down. Right now, I've made my point. Now I don't need to make that graphic any more clear. We'll reference it if we have to. But the simple fact is, how do you increase bottom 6 scoring on this team? Right, on a team that's getting roughly 6 minutes on the power play per game, how in the possibility of hockey do you go out there and increase scoring on the bottom 6? Well, the power play, the reason it's such a disaster is because we're playing the top guys too much. Simple as that. You've seen the math. I've done the math for you. It's as simple as that. We are not allowing our bottom 6 guys, a second unit, to get out there and have impactful minutes on the power play. Instead, Dave Tippett, and I'm not trying to complain about Dave Tippett's coaching. It's worked so far. But this is really the only bone I have to pick because this is also in the same category as Connor McDavid's and Leon Draisaitl's ice time. Is the simple fact that you can't run your power play out there for a minute 40, right? Your top unit. You can't run them out there, especially when they don't set up. Guys, how often have we seen teams stymie the Oilers for a minute straight on the power play and somehow, some way they refuse to go for a line change to get fresh legs out there? They'd rather try to get zone entry after zone entry, fail, turn back the other way, line up Connor McDavid through the middle again for a fourth time instead of getting fresh legs out there. And this is why I'm calling it a disaster. Because here's the thing. If you want to give your bottom six the best chance to score, do you throw them out there to shut down the top line of the other team? No. You throw them out there in a situation advantageous to them. And think about a guy like Jujhar Khaira, a guy like Riley Sheahan, a guy like Patrick Russell, guys in that bottom six who can drive possession. Now take away a guy on the ice for the other team. What does that do for their ability to drive pucks to the net, drive the play to the dangerous areas? That's my question, is we have not been able to see that. We have not at all been able to evaluate what happens if you give the bottom six guys man advantage minutes, meaningful man advantage minutes, to try and go out there and get the job done goal scoring wise. Because then, you know what, if Riley Sheahan, if Jujhar Khaira, if Gaetan Osk, Colby Cave, Thomas Shirko, if one of them, Marcus Granlund, whoever, Alex Chiasson even for that fact, if any of them score on the power play, guess what? It is just as useful to this team as scoring regular strength 5-on-5. I'm sorry. You can argue, it's a power play goal, it doesn't count, we got a good power play. Guys, we've got a good power play unit. We don't have a good power play, because a power play is much more than 5 guys farting around on the ice for 2 minutes trying to get a zone entry. I'm sorry. Guys, at times this Oilers power play, we know it, has looked absolutely lost out there. And to sit here and pretend like what we're doing right now with it is at all a means for success long term is absolutely ridiculous, because, ladies and gentlemen, that is where we lead into the Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl ice time problem, right? Think about this. If we're getting 3 power play chances a game, and Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid are playing a minute 40, now let's cut it down to a minute 30 per power play. So that's a total of 4.5 minutes on the ice. Now say Dave Tippett smartens up here on this power play disaster that he's got going so far and says, whoa. Let's cut your ice time by 30 seconds on the power play and give some other guys some chances to score here. Well, suddenly that's a minute and a half per game off of each of their average ice time. And not necessarily saying it's a minute and a half off their ice time, because technically speaking it's probably going to be made up somewhere else. But here's the thing. If you can chop a minute and a half on the power play when you're not getting anything solved anyway, and realistically give them a chance to get it done late in the game, 5-on-5, when we really need them to do it for us, well, ladies and gentlemen, which would you rather prefer? And I think it's very clear for me, I would prefer late in the game to have some fresh legs on the bench from our superstars, Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. I am without a doubt in that boat. So I want to hear what your guys' thoughts on this are. I'm getting pretty fired up. I'm going to walk away, go eat supper, relax, calm down, play some video games, call it a night, and listen to your guys' discussion in the comments. Guys, I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. Like I said, if you want to hit that subscribe button, like I said, I don't often ask, but usually when I do, there's something good coming at the end of the video, as you just saw there. So hit that subscribe button. Guys, Zap's trying to figure out what she's doing. I am up on, as always, out of here.